Hey, this is Chris from Rekkid Talk. So I'm going to do another contest for you today. And so this one is Miss 80's Blackjack Contest. So that's Beth, Miss 80's Movies and Music. Maybe it's Music and Movies. I don't remember which order that's in. But as the name would indicate, Beth is into the 1980s, both the music and the movies. Soundtracks, I know, is one of her big interests. But she has designed this contest not around soundtracks, but around Blackjack 21. I'm going to focus more on the Blackjack version of it rather than the numerical version of it. And so the one way you can make a Blackjack is you could be dealt an ace and a jack. And so the ace would be 11, the jack would be 10, you get 21 points. And so I'm thinking about records that have to do with ace, black, or jack. There was a label out of Louisiana back in late 50s and the 1960s called Ace Records. One of their stars was Jimmy Clanton. He was known as the Swamp Pump R&B Teenage Idol. And so, and you can see Neil Sedaka and someone else wrote this song called What Am I Gonna Do from 1960. And of course, What Am I Gonna Do is something you might be constantly asking yourself when you're playing blackjack. Should I stand? Should I hit? Should I double? Should I split? All those various sorts of decisions that one needs to make as a blackjack player. A little bit later on, we'll give you some advice for making those decisions a little bit better. But really, when you think about the ace, you think about the ace of spades. It's the prettiest card in the deck. And you think about Motorhead. I've got Motorhead at the special price. Classic lineup with the boys, Lemmy and his friends. Everyone knows Ace of Spades. People who know one Motorhead song know Ace of Spades. And so there you go. What else should we discuss? Well, let's talk about Jack. You can get an ace and get a jack. There's Black Jazz Records. And so Gene Russell, he's wearing a cool black hat. I wish my hat was as cool as his hat. But you got Gene Russell, who was a piano player. He had a cool cat named Henry Franklin on his label, who's the bass player on this record. New Direction from 1971. This was actually the first album. I think Gene Russell sort of ran the label, so you can just flip it up and down like that, and it's the same on both sides. They were around early mid-1970s. But Beth will want some 80s action with some black bands, so we've got Black Sabbath, some Dio-era Black Sabbath with Mob Rules. This was a recent acquisition of mine. And of course, we have Punk with Black Flag Damaged. And you can see I have my special limited edition VC Inspector card, no Punk. And let's focus on the Jack part of it now. And so there is a label out there called Jack Records. They had a band called Big Hunk of Cheese. And of course, I know you're sitting there going, Jack Records, 1992. You're sitting there going, I don't know who Big Hunk of Cheese are or Jack Records. This is a very obscure thing. A local band from Bowling Green, Ohio. I'd happened to have made friends with a guy there during a summer job I had in Yellowstone. And I did some traveling and I visited him and I picked up this CD while I was in Bowling Green, Ohio, and I still have it. Another Jack, and this is another sort of opportunistic pickup. So I ordered a record from a label, YK Records, and this was actually not the record I ordered. This was something they threw in as a bonus with my order. So this is Stone Jack Jones with Black Snake from 2019, and you basically could describe him as an indie folk singer. Now let's get in on the bonus, and we'll show some movies and educate you on how to play blackjack. I know Beth likes movies, and hopefully this will get me the bonus entry, and if it doesn't, oh well. So back in my poker days, I met a few people who were affiliated with some of the various versions of the MIT Blackjack team. There were actually multiple versions of this. And so obviously if we want to get back to the idea of What Am I Gonna Do by Jimmy Clanton, well, Andy Block had this DVD called Beating Blackjack. So learn how the MIT Blackjack team millions of Vegas. He was also pretty well known in the poker world during the poker boom, and he had gone to school at MIT. And you can see, there it is. I've never actually played it. I got it from him. He was somebody I knew fairly. I wouldn't say we were friends. Someone I knew pretty casually. But so obviously some instruction on how to count cards and make your decisions correctly, beating blackjack. And then of course if you want the Hollywood version of it, there was that movie 21. And so this was the adaptation of Bringing Down the House, which was a novel by Ben Mesrich, which was basically sort of a semi-fictionalized version of the MIT Blackjack team. And a guy named J.P. Masser was somebody I know in real life. And basically the Kevin Spacey character in the movie, Professor Rosa, was sort of an amalgamation of about 2 or 3 real-life people. And JP told me at some point that kind of like the novel had a layer of bullshit, and then the screenplay adaptation added sort of an extra layer of bullshit. So some of the stuff you saw was real, some of the stuff you saw was completely fabricated. So for example, if you remember in the movie, the scene where they had these high-value casino chips that they had to cash in because the casino was going to change them, and they were giving them the strippers to cash in. He said, no, we would never have done that. That was made up. But if you ever saw the documentary on the Travel Channel about the MIT Blackjack team, there was a incident where he had misplaced a paper bag with a very large, I think around $100,000 worth of cash in it. And I was told that that actually did happen. It was left in like a bathroom stall somewhere in MIT, and a janitor found it. They got it back, but yeah, kind of a mess. But of course, playing blackjack is a vice. And so this actually really has nothing to do with blackjack, but I figured I need another opportunity to show this. This is something I got digging recently, so it's a picture disc. I've never actually tried to play it. Unfortunately, the original sort of PVC sleeve it came in and the original hype sticker is badly faded. So I don't think it was stored very well. But you've got, I think the actual disc is okay, so what you would probably want to do is put it in, probably give up this original sleeve and put it in another sleeve, and probably just have it as a picture. So you got the Miami Vice theme by Jan Hammer, and there you've got Don Johnson and what was his, Philip Michael Thomas, is that his name? And then on the backside, Glenn Fry, You Belong to the City. So I don't know, Beth, or if like 80s picture discs would be something you'd be into, maybe you should let me know, and maybe this could end up in your hands. And so there's, and I don't need an extra entry for that. I'm not trying to brag you, but that's something that should go to somebody who's really into 80s memorabilia. So MIT Blackjack Team, 21, Ace of Spades, and all that good stuff. Yeah.